Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is an exciting video. I sure am excited. I hope you are too. This is the final video in the deck build. We are going to get this thing done. Now, if you recall way back in the beginning, we were gonna put in a pool, but budget didn't allow for it. So we took our whole budget and we put it in the deck. We built a much bigger deck than we had originally expected. But then we started thinking, you know, back at our old house, we had an Intex temporary pool that I built a small deck on. And we thought, well, why not just do that here? So what we're gonna do now, yes, we're doing more, is I'm gonna build an extension to this deck. It's just gonna be a 10x6, kind of a pier that comes out from the main deck, open the gate, walk out, and you'll be able to get directly into the pool. Now, like I said, we did this before at the old house and it works fantastically. I'll tell you what, those Intex pools, they say they're temporary, but you can winterize them, you can leave them up all winter and you don't have to tear them down. You tear them down if you want to, but you can leave them up all the time. So we're gonna get started. I've got everything set up. I got the dump trailer over here. It's all the same process, just like to recap what we did for this deck. We excavated, then we drilled holes for posts. Then we put down weed block and gravel. Then we put the decking, or built the framing, and then put the decking on and put the railing on and finish the deck. So it's pretty much just starting over, just at a much smaller scale. So I'm gonna get scooping and get this leveled out and ready for the pool. So let's get to work. manual. I need some water.
Yeah, get through it. Right there.
All right, so just to give you an update of where we are, this is what we've done. I pre-built this whole platform in the driveway. I just thought it was the best way to do it, and the Kubota lifted it in place just fine. I figure this weighs a little bit over 500 pounds, and did a great job, held it right there while we attached it. Now, when I attached it using these 3-inch timber screws, and that'll hold it just fine. We'll take out those cleats, and it'll be permanent. Next, we need to remove these temporary posts. So before we do that though, we got to put in the permanent posts. So the permanent posts are going to go in, they're going to be notched so that they support this rim joist. So it'll notch over that, and the 4x4 will go in the ground down there, and then we'll pour the concrete in there and it'll hold it in place. We'll have 4 of those, and this is going to match the other deck. Of course, the other deck has the breaker boards in the middle, so right here I just so happen to have 55-inch pieces left over from the center section over there. So we're going to do a 55 or 55-ish piece here, have a breaker board in the middle, and then a breaker board at the end. The whole thing will be picture framed. It'll look really nice. And then right here I've got a couple of supports in. They're just 2x8 pieces, and those are going to accept the ladder. The railings of the ladder come up and they'll go through those and make that good and solid. So next thing we need to do is cut the permanent posts, get them in place, drop down in the hole, and then pour the concrete, and we will be ready for decking. Here we go. Well, now this is nice, if I do say so myself. I'm very pleased with the way this turned out. Oh, yeah. Now he needs a pool. So I brought in 3 tons of sand, backed the dump trailer up over here, and unloaded. So that's ready to level out where the pool's gonna go. Before I do that, I need to get to the fascia. No time to rest. Oh yeah, so look what finally showed up. It only took 2 months, but we finally have fascia. So I just want to talk a little bit about this fascia. First of all, it's super expensive. The boards are expensive enough as it is, but the tools you need, you've got to have this countersink bit to do the screws and plugs. This countersink bit was 40 bucks. And then a box of 100 of these screws and plugs was $65. I can't believe it. Anyway, you get these screws with Torx drive. Thank goodness they're Torx drive. And then you put this plug in. And these plugs are color matched to the rest of the deck. So the screw heads just disappear. And I'm sure it's gonna look really nice. So let's get to work. I'm gonna get these stairs on right now. So now that I've finished up these stairs, and I think they turned out beautifully, I really do, I feel like I need to stop for a second and tell you some things I learned while I'm doing that. Like I said, they really turned out beautifully, and Trex has got you. When you get all of this done and the deck looks as good as it does, if you don't put the fascia on, and you got all that wood showing, it's really kind of eh. Yeah, so let me tell you, these boards, and this is the current price, this is the current going price. These are the 12-foot, 11.5-inch wide boards. They're $130 a piece. Yes, I'm not $130 a piece. But like I say, they got you. You gotta put them on. So enough of that. Now let's talk about this plug system, okay, and what I learned about it. So they give you, in the tool set here, I showed you the bit set. You got the drill bit, which gives you the perfect countersink for the screw that goes in, and then you're able to put the plug in. And then they give you this tool, which is supposed to drive it perfectly. This is trash. This you don't use at all, and I'll tell you why. So what happens is you drill your perfect hole, and you go to put your screw in, and this bit here doesn't drive it far enough. It gets to a point of where it's gone in, and then it stops driving it, and you know what happens is this head sticks out just far enough that you can't put the plug all the way in, and it'll push the plug out. If it jiggles at all over time, all of these plugs would come out. So all you need to do is you use this bit and you drill it and countersink it for the plug. Then just use the bit that comes with the screws and put it in your standard chuck and use it like that, drive the screw all the way in. That's what I've been doing. And then the plugs go in just fine and everything is perfect. So I'm gonna get to going on this. You measure everything out and space it perfectly. I'm going 24 inches for each one. These are not structural. This is all just aesthetics. That's all this is. So they say you're supposed to go like 18 inches. I'm not. I'm going 24 inches in between because these screws and plugs are expensive. So I'm gonna get this side and that side, and especially over where the pool's going, because I want to get that pool in. You know what? I'm gonna start over there. Start where the pool is, and then I'm gonna come around this way. Let's get it done. So when you put these little plugs in, you want to try and get the grain to go and match. And the thing is, you can still see the plug. I mean, it doesn't disappear entirely. It looks better than the screw head. I don't think it's worth the money. See these boards that I did? This is on that extension that I did. I did those with just the color match screws. And they look fine. I mean, you can see them, but they blend in, they're fine. And they're way less expensive. That's what I would do for the whole thing if I had to do it again. So I worked all morning getting the rest of the fascia put on the rim joists, and I am beat. It's gonna be mid-80s at the beginning of the week. It's already like 83 right now, and it's just killing me. So right now, I think I'm just gonna spread out that sand with the tractor. I got the sunshade on, just do some tractor work, and that should be enough. Okay, once you get your rough grade done, I want to give you a really quick tip now. If you ever find yourself setting up one of these pools, and this is not a how-to video on how to set up an Intex pool, we're just going to get that done. But for grading, if you're using sand and you need a really perfect surface, after your rough grade is done, of course, you're going to need a 4-foot level to make sure it's level. But check this out. If you take a 4-inch piece of Schedule 40, 10 feet long, put a rope through it, you can use this as a drag. You can pick this whole thing up and you can smooth things out just as perfect as you want them. And then of course you can drag it around this way and it just smooths everything out just so nice. And I'm wearing sandals so I don't make too much of a mark when I walk around. But this really gives you a nice finished surface. Now, let's get to what everybody wants to see. The before and afters, because we are almost done. Well, that's right, my friends. The deck is done. 100% done. I can't tell you how relieved I am. This was a huge, huge project for, well, myself and my dad. It was so nice to work with my dad, have him come over, and it was just, there was a lot of good, a whole lot of good that came out of this, and there were some challenges too. Let's start with that. There were some things that I would change. I'm not super happy. I think a lot of you picked up on the little plug system for the fascia, the screw and plug system. I probably would just use color match screws. That stuff was way too expensive and didn't really give as fantastic of a result. The color match screws would be fine. So that's one thing. Another thing, the fit and finish of the Trex can be done in different ways, and I'm sure there's deck builders out there that'll agree with me. Tell me in the comments if you know what I'm talking about, that there's certain ways to do it that you can make Trex look better, because when you cut the edge of a Trex board, it's not pretty. So there's some revealed edges that I'm not happy with, that I probably could have done differently and better. But overall, this thing is the best addition to this house so far. It really is. We have gotten a lot of use out of it already, and my daughter plays on it all the time, and we can sit on it and watch her play in the backyard. Yeah, so let's talk some numbers. You know, how much did this cost and how much would it have cost? Well, we spent just under $20,000, and that is entirely because we went with Trex. I think it was worth the money. I really do. It's a much more durable, long-lasting material. It looks better. It's gonna keep this nice look to it for its entire life. Taking care of it is absolutely simple. You just hose it off. The rain actually does a good job of washing it. And like I say, it's gonna look like this for the rest of my life, that's for sure. What would it have cost if we had somebody else build it? So my estimates from just the Google research I did, it would have at least cost twice as much. It would have been a $40,000 investment to have somebody build this. And with all the stuff that I did to it and the addition of the pool deck and everything, it probably would have been more like 45 or 50. And that's not an unreasonable estimate. That's not on the high end. On the high end, it probably would have been more. So it was certainly worth me doing it by myself, because now that it's done, you know, you do all this work just so you can sit and relax. It's fantastic. So anyway, enough of me talking. Let's get to the before and afters. Here they are, starting with the ground before anything was done. Here's what the house looked like before we even broke ground. The next step, of course, was breaking ground and digging out all the sod. And then after that, I drilled holes and put in the beam and post structure. Then, of course, was all the joist structure, and that took a lot of time. Then put in the railing posts and all the rest of the stairs, and that's what it looked like. And finally, this is the final after. Boy, am I happy with it. The features of this deck, of course, it's 24 by 40, and that doesn't include the 6 by 10 pier, I call it, where the pool goes. You have access, large access, 8-foot wide stairs going to the backyard for the kids to run down to the play set and back. You've got almost 5-foot wide stair for guests when they arrive from the driveway. There's plenty of room for seating. We could set up additional tables and chairs. There's so much potential. And the pool, I mean, maybe that's the biggest, just this little addition that we did. The $500 pool on a $20,000 deck. Yeah, we're gonna get a lot of use out of that. I gotta finish filling it and got some landscaping to do. There's some finish work still left to be done. There's always work left to be done, but you can tell by the smile on my face, I am just absolutely pleased. My daughter's already been in the pool and we've already enjoyed it. So anyway, I appreciate you coming along for the ride. And if it wasn't for that delay on the fascia material, we would have had this done a while ago. But I'm glad we waited, because, you know, if I hadn't waited, we wouldn't have had the idea to put the small pier on for the pool deck. And it all turned out just great. So once again, thanks for coming along. If you like this stuff and you want to see what I'm doing next, you got to subscribe, you got to hit that button, and we will see you next time when I am doing more stuff. Catch you then.